Welcome back to Plot Twist Brothers, where we break down dark, twisted, and unexpected movies filled with ancient curses, crusader knights, and demons that refuse to die quietly. Today, we're diving into a chilling medieval supernatural thriller. Get ready for Season of the Witch, 2011. Now grab your sword, hold tight to your cross, and let's get into it. Year 1235 in the Dark Ages. Witchcraft was a death sentence. A small village. Three women, accused of being witches, stand before a priest clutching the Book of Solomon, a sacred text said to contain spells and rituals that can seal away evil. Two of the women, terrified, confess their supposed crimes, begging for mercy. But the third, with one eye clouded white and filled with hatred, spits in the priest's face and hisses, "You'll burn in hell." Unshaken, the priest orders their execution. Before a crowd of villagers, the three are hanged from the bridge, and their lifeless bodies are plunged into the river below. But that night, the priest's conscience won't rest. He orders the soldiers to retrieve the corpses to give them holy rites. Fearing the curse of the Book of Solomon, the soldiers refuse, certain the witches are dead, and leave him alone in the dark. When the priest pulls one body from the water, it twitches. He begins chanting sacred words to seal the spirits. But the last body stirs violently. Her eyes open, glowing with rage. The witch grabs him, drags him into the freezing river, and before he can finish his prayer, she bursts from the depths. Her power ignites the Book of Solomon in flames, and she kills the priest, fulfilling her curse. Crossed swords. The Crusades. Year 1332 AD. A century later, the world is once again at war. In the Gulf of Adet, Crusader knights gather under the banner of God. Among them, two legendary warriors, Bayman and his loyal friend Felson. The two joke about who'll slay the most enemies before the horn of war sounds. They fight with skill and fury, cutting down foes by the dozens. For years, they become champions of the Crusades, heroes of faith, soldiers of God. But as the years drag on, the line between good and evil blurs. In 1344, during a bloody siege in Smyrna, Bayman drives his sword through an enemy in the fog, only to realize he's killed a defenseless woman. The next morning, he confronts a priest who claims every death is God's will. Disgusted, Bayman asks, "Is it truly God who commands this, or men hiding behind his name?" Knowing he can no longer fight for blind faith, Bayman and Felson walk away from the Crusades, faced with medical mask. The plague, God's punishment, or something worse. A month later, the two wander through desolate lands until they find a small house. Inside, a couple lies dead, their bodies covered in boils. Realizing the plague has spread, they burn the house and continue onward. Soon, they arrive at a nearby city, where corpses hang, and priests pray in vain. But a soldier named Eckhart tells them the Black Plague has consumed the land, and whispers spread that it's the work of a witch. Desperate to escape, Bayman tries to gather supplies, but he and Felson are recognized as deserters and quickly surrounded by guards. They fight back, but are overwhelmed by archers and forced to surrender. Castle the witch is thrown into a dungeon. Bayman and Felson are summoned by a frail church cardinal stricken with the plague. The priest de Belzac explains that the church has captured a young woman accused of witchcraft, the very one blamed for spreading the plague. He insists she must be taken to a remote monastery, where monks hold the last surviving copy of the Book of Solomon. Only through that sacred text can her curse be lifted and the world purified. Bayman refuses. "I no longer serve the church." For defying orders, both knights are imprisoned in the dim dungeon. They meet the accused witch, a young woman with tear-streaked eyes and whip marks on her back. She looks more like a frightened girl than a creature of evil. Dagger the journey begins. The next morning, Bayman agrees to escort the girl to the monastery, but only if she's given a fair trial. The church reluctantly agrees. The group sets out. Bayman, Felson, Father de Belzac, the young knight Kay, the guide Hagamar, and a guard named Eckhart. But the witch isn't helpless. When they approach her cell, she lashes out, nearly killing a guard before Bayman knocks her unconscious. They chain her in a cart and begin the treacherous journey. Unbeknownst to them, the cardinal dies shortly after their departure, leaving them without the church's blessing. Waxing crescent moon signs of during their travels, the young priest warns them not to speak with the witch, for she will prey on their fears. But Bayman's compassion gets the better of him. He brings her food and promises she'll receive justice. Her voice trembles as she says, "In my village, they drowned a girl like me in the river. She survived until they burned her alive." That night, the witch weeps softly in her cage. The sound lures Kay closer, and when he hesitates, she strikes, stabbing the priest's hand with his own cross and fleeing into the woods. The group chases her through a nearby, plague-ridden village, where corpses fill the trenches. There, Soldier Eckhart hallucinates. Hearing his dead daughter's voice that in his delusion, he attacks Kay, fatally wounding him before realizing his mistake. When the witch is captured again, she pleads not to be handed back to the priest, her eyes full of terror, not malice. Bridge at night, the bridge of Ditch, the group buries Eckhart and continues toward the monastery. Their path leads to an ancient, crumbling bridge suspended over a vast gorge. Bayman crosses first, the ropes creaking under his armor. Halfway across, the cart nearly slips, and young Kay dangles over the edge, until the witch catches his arm with unnatural strength, saving his life. They manage to cross just as the bridge collapses into the abyss behind them. Wolf face the forest of Nes, they press on into a misty forest where light itself seems afraid to enter. That night, Hagamar sneaks off with his crossbow, intending to kill the witch before more die. But before he can shoot, a chilling howl echoes through the fog. Wolves emerge, but these are no ordinary beasts. Their eyes glow red, the pack attacks, and chaos erupts. Swords flash, blood spills, and one by one, the men are mauled. Hagamar tries to flee but is dragged down and torn apart by morning. Only the core group remains. Bayman is shaken. This, which might not be human at all. Castle the monastery of the day at last, they reach the monastery. The gates are silent. Inside, every monk is dead, bodies frozen in prayer. Father de Belzac kneels, begging God for strength, when one monk suddenly gasps, still alive, and points to the sacred book of Solomon. Moments later, he dies. The priest realizes the monks were copying the book, trying to spread its holy words before evil could destroy them. Bayman asks if he can perform the ritual. The priest nods, clutching the holy book tightly. Fire the revelation, not a witch, but a demon. As the exorcism begins, the witch's demeanor changes. She mocks them, saying, "For centuries, your church has killed in the name of God. You've sent more souls to hell than I ever could." Suddenly, her chains snap. She levitates, her eyes glowing with unholy fire. The air trembles. The priest's hand bleeds from his wound, and the creature within her feeds on his pain. Then it happens. Her true form bursts forth, wings tearing from her back, skin blackened by flame. She was never a witch, she was a demon, using human disguise to reach the Book of Solomon. Ogre, the final bit, the monastery erupts into chaos. The demon summons the corpses of the monks, twisted, crawling across walls like spiders. The knights fight desperately, decapitating each possessed body to stop them. Father de Belzac continues the exorcism, his voice trembling but strong. The demon swoops down and breaks his neck, silencing him forever. The demon reaches for the sacred book. Bayman douses it with holy water, and it bursts into flames. The creature screams in rage and grabs Bayman by the throat, ready to end him. But Felsen, gravely wounded, tackles the demon from behind. It burns him alive, turning him to ash. Bayman, filled with fury and faith, pins the demon to the wall with twin blades. "Finish it," he shouts to Kay. The young knight recites the last of the holy words, and light fills the chamber. The demon screeches, its body igniting in holy fire, until nothing remains but dust. Bayman collapses, mortally wounded. Kay kneels beside him as he whispers, "Protect the innocent, always." With that, the last crusader breathes his final breath. Sunrise, the dawn of our Kay and the young woman, now freed from the demon's grip, bury the fallen heroes. She introduces herself softly as Anna, and thanks them for giving their lives to save her. Together, they ride away, carrying the remaining pages of the Book of Solomon. Kay swears to protect its wisdom and ensure that no evil will ever rise again. And that's the story of Season of the Witch, 2011. If you enjoyed this dark medieval tale filled with holy battles, betrayal, and one seriously terrifying twist. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Plot Twist Brothers for more epic movie recaps every week. Until next time, keep your swords sharp.